We see incredible technology every single day. I mean, the phone in your hand, right in the cars, the software, it runs our lives.
It really does. And it's so easy just to accept it.
Totally. But how often do we actually stop and think about the the huge amount of work, the meticulous effort that turns a raw, brilliant idea, maybe just a prototype, into that really polished thing you actually use?
That's a great point. It's a journey, isn't it? Refinement journey.
Yeah.
And what happens in that sort of middle stage? And well, that often makes all the difference. Good idea versus game-changing product.
Absolutely. And today, that's what we're diving deep into. One of those critical, often invisible stages, it's called the formatting phase.
Mm-hmm.
This specific idea comes from the Taxshila Technology framework. They identify it as the fifth key phase out of 7.
Right. Stage 5. Crucial one.
So our mission today is to really unpack how innovation goes from being like a conceptual prototype to something truly refined, user-ready, something that, actually works perfectly in the real world.
Speaks the language of utility, as they say.
Exactly. We'll look at the roles, the mechanisms, the design thinking behind it all. And all our insights today, just so you know, are drawn straight from Formatting Phase, Perfecting Innovation for User Experience by Shiva Narayan, Taxshila page.
Good source material.
Okay, so let's jump right in. What is this formatting phase in the Taxshila world? And how's it really different from just, prototyping? Because I think most people assume prototyping kind of gets it ready, right?
Yeah, that's a really common thought, and it's a good place to start. See, prototyping is mostly about proving the concept. Can this thing even work? Is the core idea valid?
Okay, feasibility.
Exactly. But the formatting phase, stage 5, that's where that working idea gets.
Yeah.
Well, truly mastered for human use. It goes beyond just being experimental.
Mastered for human use. I like that.
Yeah, it becomes refined, deployable, and just completely user-ready. It's way more than fixing bugs or adding, cosmetic touches. It's like meticulous sculpting. Yeah, sculpting to make sure the product doesn't just function, but actually delights the user. It needs to be resilient, intuitive, and really, truly ready for the market.
Gotcha. So it's not just functional, it's refined. Like the difference between, I don't know, a rough sketch and a finished painting.
Or a functional blueprint and a beautiful building people actually want to live in.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So if this is where the product gets truly user-ready, who are the key people, the master craftspeople making this happen?
They're called the Taxshila Transformers, sometimes also knowledge transformers.
Okay, transformers.
Think of them as like specialists, innovation surgeons, maybe. They're not just general developers. They're high-level folks, already trained, equipped with this specific blend of expertise, precision, and task logic.
Task logic.
Yeah, knowing how to execute the refinement tasks correctly. Their main job is finalizing designs. They're part system builders, part really rigorous quality controllers. They're the engine driving this whole refinement stage.
Right. And what's really interesting, the source mentions they rely heavily on something called brain page processing. What's that about? Sounds intriguing.
It is. It's not just like reading notes. Think of it as a dynamic knowledge base. It holds all the insights, the lessons learned from the earlier phases of development.
Ah, so they're not starting from scratch mentally each time.
Exactly. It stops them from re-arguing old points or making the same mistakes. Instead, they can apply this sort of surgical precision to the new refinements needed now. Every bit of user feedback builds directly on what's already known and solved.
Okay, so that makes the process super efficient, I imagine, and targeted.
Incredibly targeted, yeah.
Yeah.
Very efficient.
All right, so we have the Taxshila Transformers armed with this brain page processing. Let's get into the nuts and bolts then. How do they actually do it? What are the practical steps in this formatting journey?
Okay, so the Taxshila framework lays out a few key processes. First up is worked out design.
Worked out design.
Yeah, this is where they really nail down the details. Refining the architecture, the user interfaces, making sure all the components line up and work together perfectly. It's about structuring it all seamlessly.
Okay, getting the blueprint perfect.
Pretty much. Then there's goal-oriented task operations, or GOTO.
Jugo-to, like the old programming command.
Huh. Maybe a nod to it, but different meaning here. Think about building something complex, like a custom car. You don't invent the wheel every single time, right?
Right. You use standard parts, processes.
Exactly. GOTO is about deploying tasks systematically, with high accuracy, often using predefined patterns and templates. These act like specialized instructions or blueprints for the transformers.
Ah, so ensuring consistency and quality control.
Precisely. Reduces errors, allows for that precision we talked about, but at scale. across the whole refinement.
Makes sense. What else?
And the third big one is value-added development. This isn't just about making features work. It's about enhancing them for real-world use, making them deeply relevant.
So going beyond basic function.
Yeah, adding structure, maybe new derivations based on user needs, and just that overall finesse that makes an innovation truly valuable and impactful for you, the person using it.
It really sounds like this incredibly detailed process, ensuring every single piece fits perfectly, not just functionally, but like intuitively too.
Exactly. The source uses that metaphor, the rainbow of production.
Right. I loved that. How does that rainbow actually play out in practice during this phase?
Well, it's a great way to picture the harmonization that's happening. Each color in that rainbow represents a critical element they have to align.
Okay, like what?
Like you've got the standard qualities, the technical stuff, making sure it works flawlessly. Then you have market demands. What does the competition look like? What do people actually want to buy?
Right.
And then, crucially, you have user choices and experiences. How do real people interact with it? What makes it easy or frustrating?
So the Transformers are blending all these colors.
Exactly. Into one coherent, brilliant spectrum, making sure the final product isn't just technically sound, but it's also commercially smart, and most importantly, genuinely satisfying for the end user, for you.
That paints a really clear picture. And speaking of a user, you mentioned user experience being central. How does that actually translate into action here? It's got to be more than just surveys, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's deeply connected to what Taxshila calls learnodynamics.
Learnodynamics. Okay, break that down.
Think of it as the practical science of learning from user interaction. It's about turning feedback, observed actions, clicks, swipes, even hesitation directly into design improvements. Methodics.
So watching how people actually use it.
Yes. It's not just opinions. It's converting those motor tasks and interactions into concrete knowledge that feeds right back into the refinement loop. It ensures sensory engagement, ease of use, cognitive flow. All that stuff becomes central.
And that's where user testing comes in big time, I assume.
Huge time. User testing is fundamental here, and it's usually a two-step process at least. First, alpha testing.
That's internal, right? The creator's testing it.
Exactly. Intensive scrutiny by the team themselves, catching the big foundational stuff early.
Okay.
Then it moves to beta testing. This is where you bring in a wider audience, real people, using it in their actual environments, their real-world scenarios.
So you get diverse perspectives, unexpected uses.
Invaluable insights, yeah. Often things the creators never even considered. And this whole cycle test, learn, refine, test, again, it's iterative.
Constantly fine-tuning.
Like a master musician, the source says, tuning every single instrument until the harmony is perfect. Paying attention to the tiniest details for seamless function and, ultimately, user satisfaction.
Your satisfaction.
Right. Okay, so user focus is key.
Yeah.
But there's more to excellence than just being user-friendly, isn't there? How does this formatting phase make sure a product is genuinely top tier and ready to compete, ready to last?
That's where precision engineering really shines. It's not just about making it work, it's about meticulous crafting.
Meticulous how? Every single component is scrutinized, fine-tuned for the absolute best performance possible. It's this deep commitment to ensuring the technology works flawlessly, reliably, efficiently, smoothing out all the rough edges, addressing every little imperfection.
Getting rid of the glitches.
Absolutely. And those patterns and templates we mentioned with GOTO, they're crucial here too.
How so? Beyond just consistency.
Well, think of them as the architectural blueprints guiding the entire transformation. They ensure that high level of quality and reliability is built in across the whole system, not just in isolated parts. They're really the backbone supporting that value-added design, letting the precision permeate everything.
Okay, so standards within the process itself. What about external standards? Industry benchmarks.
Critical. Aligning with industry standards is non-negotiable in this phase. These aren't just hoops to jump through, they're the shared benchmarks for quality, safety, performance. They build trust.
Makes sense. People expect certain things to work safely, reliably.
Exactly. And just as important are user expectations. What do people actually anticipate based on similar products or their own needs? That's the compass guiding the design and function.
So you need both compliance and user delight.
You need the convergence of those two pillars, yeah. Industry compliance and meeting or exceeding user expectations. That's where true excellence and market acceptance come from.
Okay, so after all this intense effort, the transformers, the testing, the precision, the standards, what's the payoff? What's the ultimate impact of getting this formatting phase right? For us, using the tech.
The impact is transformative. Innovations don't just emerge functional from this phase, they emerge exceptional. Often, they push past current industry standards.
Setting new benchmarks?
Potentially, yeah. They gain the power to actually streamline processes, boost productivity, maybe even revolutionize whole sectors. It's where promising ideas become tangible, powerful, real-world solutions, ready for you to use, ready to solve real problems.
Can you give some examples? Where do we see this in action?
Sure. The source points to a couple of great ones. Think about modern smartphones.
Okay, yeah. Ubiquitous.
Their seamless design, the elegance, the intuitive interfaces. That didn't happen by accident.
Yeah.
That level of refinement is a hallmark of really effective formatting. They set the bar for the whole industry, didn't they?
Absolutely. You just expect that level of polish now.
Right. Or think about autonomous vehicles. Still evolving, of course, but the level of precision engineering involved,
Immense.
immense. And that comes from incredibly meticulous testing, optimization, refinement, all core activities of this formatting phase. It's what's paving the way for a potential revolution in how we get around.
Wow, so these examples really show it. It's not just about meeting expectations.
No, it's often about redefining what's possible, setting completely new standards of excellence. That's the power of getting this phase right.
Okay, so wrapping this up then. The formatting phase within this Taxshila framework, it's really where the magic meets the market, isn't it? Where raw ideas get meticulously polished, rigorously tested.
Optimized for efficiency, user satisfaction, market readiness, all of it.
It truly sounds like the essential bridge between just having an innovation and achieving real excellence, driven by those specialized knowledge transformers.
And a deep commitment to precision and really understanding the user.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. As you use your phone today or your software or even look at a new gadget, maybe take a second to consider that immense, often unseen effort, that formatting phase that turned its raw potential into the smooth, intuitive, powerful experience you probably just take for granted.
Yeah, there's a lot hidden beneath the surface.
Definitely. And it makes you wonder, what other hidden stages of creation in tech or even elsewhere might we benefit from understanding a bit more deeply in our everyday lives? Something to think about.